Really looking forward to the next 60, 90 minutes with Devin from Crossfire Canine. He provides what I think is a great blend of freedom, fun, exploration, with the dog understanding that obedience is kind of the gateway to doing all those things.
So like I'm force free, I'm not really seeing the results that I'm putting in, but then in 2 weeks, I'm seeing these incredible transformations. And so that was like me dipping my toes into the world of aversives, but I would show the dog that like, hey, there's pressure here, but I'm going to show you the fastest way out of this pressure so that we can get that escape. Because the sooner the dog learns the escape, we can then learn the avoid. And once the dog learns the avoid, you can have a lot of fun with it. You can with the dog. I've been playing with e-collars for so many years to the point where I'm to the e-collar.
So we understand that concept that pressure makes diamonds. It's like your nest egg to mess up. This man sitting in front of me was quite a dancer. Ready? Stay with me. Let's go.
Yeah.
0 dogs in 1 month. I've never had that. It was that. It was like, how does that happen?
But I want to have my obedience kind of doing its own thing while I'm focusing on like behavior training. Understand dog behavior from a completely different perspective. For me, I want to understand everything: behavior, genetic instincts, breeding, raising, like the whole thing. I want to know it all.
What's the deal with Virginia Beach having so many good dog trainers?
Something in the water. There's a lot of ego over here too, though, but I stay away from that.
Ricky Bobby's dad says, if you're not first, you're last. So I'm really looking forward to the next 60, 90 minutes with Devin from Crossfire Canine. He said, we always riff behind the scenes of, he said, this is my first podcast. That's not a big deal at all, because I know for the next hour or so, you guys are going to get so much knowledge. The gentleman sitting in front of me, obviously we've never met. We do these virtual, but I can tell, I believe I have a good kind of radar. This guy knows how to train dogs. And he provides what I think is a great blend of freedom, fun, exploration, with the dog understanding that obedience is kind of the gateway to doing all those things. So I'm really excited to get to know Devin. He was also in the Marines for a minute. So you guys stay tuned. I think you're going to really enjoy this episode. And he's got a sense of humor, so there's going to be a little bit of that blended in. So without further ado, Devin, welcome to the show.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me, buddy. Also, is this a profanity-friendly podcast?
Yeah, I mean, we don't just like curse it up like in the military, but we're passionate about dogs, right? So if there's a stance that you feel so strongly about and you make a point and you're like, right? Why not? Like, I don't think there's that many kids listening. But I want to ask you, best of Virginia, huh?
So kind of there's just like this vote for the best in your area. It's like a votes thing. It gives you some bragging rights. Obviously, that's a bold statement, right? But yeah, we entered the, I don't even know if you'd call it a competition. There's people in it that have hundreds of thousands of followers. And they text blast all these people to vote for me. But yeah, man, that is the goal one day, though. Absolutely.
I always ask, like, when I kick this off, so for my listeners, before we get into like dog training, your philosophy, the dogs you've trained, we always ask like the origin story. Why did you get into dog training? Did you have a dog growing up that like you were really passionate about, or it was troubled behavior? What led you to starting, running, and now growing your dog training business?
Yeah, man. So me and my wife, we got this dog in Coachella Valley, California. It was the Coachella Valley Animal Campus was the name of the shelter. I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps. I had like a year and some change left, and we were kind of just, I just gotten back from my last deployment. We're just kind of waiting around. We're like, hey, we're married. Next step, let's get a dog. And so we went to the shelter. My wife picked her out. She's this white and black spotted pitty that we have. She's like 8 years old now. But she was just a menace. She was bad. I think a lot of dog trainers have this origin story. But I didn't understand drive back then. I didn't understand training. Didn't understand all these things. And so some of the issues I had with her is like, you put her in a crate, she'll kill herself trying to get out of the crate. She'll self-harm. She'll smush her face through the corner of the crate to try and escape. Can't take her out on a walk because she's walking on her hind legs and her front legs are like up in the air. Her pulling was just nasty. Can't leave her out of the crate. She's destroying the carpet, video games, books. She like shredded a Bible that my pastor gave me over there. There was like Ephesians in the kitchen. Philippians in the living room. And so I was like, I don't know what to do about this. And so, being a genius, we went and got another puppy. Obviously, you need some fun here. You need a friend. The behaviors escalated. They doubled in severity. Both dogs were kind of doing the same thing. And then, but the second dog, they sent us home with like a Train Your Dog the Basics DVD. And it was like sit down, shake, roll over, and like a snake avoidance thing that had no real practical application for us. But I started doing some of those things with my dog. I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. And then I hopped on like the Zach George Revolution for a little bit. And then naturally, as I'm on YouTube looking up dog training, Facebook's showing me these advertisements for it was a school called K9's Trainers Academy. It was a force-free school. I enrolled into it, did the thing. It took me about 1.5 years to become certified. By the time I was certified, I was like already out of the Marine Corps. It was an okay school. It taught you the basics, taught you dog theory, dog psychology, all the fun stuff. But as we know, it's really, really difficult to be like that damn good at force-free training. And it's less applicable whenever you bring in clients in every single month. But yeah, did all that, realized it wasn't working. Actually got a dog training gig with a company. I don't know if I want to name them, but they're very e-collar heavy. 2-week board and trains, get the dog fully off leash, gaslight the clients once the dogs go back home and they start regressing. It was that kind of business model. But it comes with your before and after YouTube video to keep people pumped into that pipeline. And, I felt like we were abusing dogs. We were messing them up. I'd bring in happy-go-lucky dogs, I'd bring in a happy-go-lucky dog and we'd train it. And by the time the dog's done with training, they're shut down. They're anxious. They're afraid. Got out of that. I was like, dog training's pretty much evil. I'm going to go work carpentry. Now I'm in the Marines. I was a rifleman. I have a bad back. You have to slug around a lot of weight, hurt yourself. It is what it is. I'm shoveling rocks at this construction site and my back is just on fire. So I go and I hide in the porta potty, and I hop on Facebook, and I do this free dog training giveaway in my local Facebook group. I posted that. I was like, hey, if you enter, you'll get 4 free sessions. I had like 150 bites on it, like 150 people. The Better Business Bureau was calling me and was like, hey, we have all these people asking if you're plugged into the BBB. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I saw Better Business Bureau, and I was like, oh my God, like I'm a fraud.
Devin, so you're still doing dog training, but like part-time kind of at this stage?
I couldn't, my goal was like, okay, I'm just going to be a blue collar man like the rest of my family. And, but my back was hurting. So I was like, I can't do this. I have to go back to the dogs. Right. So I did the text blast, did the giveaway. Everybody that entered, I gave them like a 20% discount. That was my first $6,000 as a business owner. Figured out my wife was pregnant. We moved from the location we were at to a different city. So we're in Virginia Beach now. And then when we got over here, I was working for this dog training company, and they do kind of like a Tar Heel style. If you're familiar with Tar Heel and how they train, there's obedience. Once again, it kind of only gets you so far with your clients. But when my son was born, I wanted to make my son I wanted to make my wife a stay-at-home mom. So I told the owner, hey, in 3 months, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to get out. And the next day he fired me, which started my real story of
He gave you a gift.
He did.
You just didn't know it because he was like 3 months. Why wait 3 months when you could start today, right?
Well, he was like, I had access to the CRM. I had access to his clients, and he didn't want me to obviously be sketchy. So I can. And I was like, hey, mad respect. I respect. And I left. I went and got my business license. I went and returned all of my Christmas gifts to get a little bit of wiggle room for groceries. And then, like God took really good care of us. We just started pumping out clients consistently ever since. And so we've been running strong for about 2 years now.
Okay, so it's 2023 or 2024 maybe, or 2020, right around there, but a lot to unpack there. I want to just back up real quick. Because you're a guy, I mean, I played college soccer. I never try to compare these, but we understand that. I think we understand negative reinforcement or pressure a little bit differently than the general public. Maybe this is me projecting, and you guys in the comments could say, no, we get it too. But like, we see pressure making diamonds, right? Because we see oftentimes those kids that come in who coach like devotes a little bit extra attention to them, puts a little more pressure, we see, oh, he got to the MLS. Maybe he put the pressure on himself and he got to the MLS, and he's not the most talented. So we understand that concept that pressure makes diamonds. We also understand too much pressure could get people, in this scenario, kids, to shut down, lose confidence, lose interest, and then they go from the superstar to like back of the bench. They don't want to do this anymore. They quit. So we understand pressure. I think maybe we experienced it. How did you go like force free? Like, hey, I want to fix all of these like kind of crazy pity issues, force free, and then you go, hey, I'm going to this other like heavy on the e-collar. You know, I'm assuming it's like place. You pick your head up. No, that's not. Doesn't place. Go back. How do you go between those two perceivable extremes, I guess we could say?
Yeah, so the company I worked for, I see all of their like YouTube videos, and these dogs are doing like some really crazy stuff to the eye. You're seeing these dogs in 2 weeks, wherever they're at, whatever stage of life they're in, 5 months and above. In 2 weeks, we were over by the Virginia. This is what we did at the time. But in 2 weeks, you get dogs going from pulling grandma down the street to heeling off leash for 35 minutes around campus in between classes when everybody's coming from one side of the field to the other. And then you see them going into farmers markets, holding downs for duration, all that stuff. And so to the untrained eye, you're like, oh my God, that's next, right? So like I'm force free. I'm not really seeing the results that I'm putting in. But then in 2 weeks, I'm seeing these incredible transformations. And so that was me dipping my toes into the world of aversives. But I went from force free straight to compulsion. And it was like, it took me a little bit of development to kind of learn, hey, like this isn't right.
Can you talk to us a little about the fallout? Because that's interesting. Me, I didn't have that experience. A few have talked about it. They haven't mentioned the name because we don't try to, put anyone on blast and it's not a judgment podcast.
Yeah, of course.
But what were some of the methods and what was some of the fallout?
Yeah, man. Something I'll say. So obviously, like now I'm in the TWC program, and one of the big things that Ivan emphasizes is forward conditioning. So the cue before the help. It's this company, like it's tough because you bring a dog in, you don't even get to know the dog. You just bring them in. It's time to get to work. E-collar's coming on. And like, let's say I'm teaching a dog a sit for the very first time, and the dog doesn't even know me.
Right.
I'm pulling up on the dog's leash. I'm applying pressure with the leash. I have my e-collar set at a 0. I'll go sit, up, sit, squealing at this point. Sit, up, sit. The point where the dog just, as a last-ditch effort, he's doing everything in his power. He puts his butt on the floor, break, and then you pet the dog. Like, you're doing simultaneous conditioning with rising stem on the collar. So there is no sit, pressure, relief, reward. And from the dog's perspective, they have no choice but to endure that aversiveness. One of the big things what I now is, show the dog that like, hey, there's pressure here, but I'm going to show you the fastest way out of this pressure so that we can get that escape. Because the sooner the dog learns the escape, we can then learn the avoid. And once the dog learns the avoid, you can have a lot of fun with it. You can with the dog.
Guys, I'll tell you, we talk about like time in the industry, but a lot of people I've had on, they've brought up the point, it's not time, it's who you learn from and what you're learning. If you just backpedal, rewind like 2 minutes, I'll tell you in dog training, and I would say learning theory, if we're just being honest, how subtle that difference is, but how it's everything, right? Because if you think about training as learning, and Devin, correct me if I'm wrong here because you're going through the program, the true learning is for the dog to understand how to avoid it in the future. If you are, for the eternity of the dog, having to use pressure, did they actually learn anything? Has to be the question, right? Like it has to be contingent where we say something. And this is a big thing with clients I work with is we as are multitaskers. Mm-hmm. So they'll often say something and apply the pressure or even say something and give the reward simultaneously, right? Versus there needs to be gaps between those two. That's where I believe the learning comes in.
Absolutely. If I'm running around a baseball field and right as the ball is hitting me in the head, I hear heads up. Like next time I hear heads up, I'm probably just going to piss myself.
Yeah.
right? But if I'm walking around just chilling, this actually happened to me as a kid. You hear heads up, and I'm a little kid. I'm over there looking like just moseying around looking for ladybugs and stuff. The ball landed right in front of me, but that was enough to scare me, right? I didn't have to get the physical, oh my God, it just connected to my head. But every time I hear heads up after that, immediately I'm covering my head without even being taught that this is the way to relieve that stress or that pressure. It's very, 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 not a lot of people pay a lot of attention to that.
I don't know if it's Train with Ivan or TWC. I've seen this game a few times. This was my number one note. So there's this big tree stump, and there's nails everywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I think every trainer puts on an e-collar, and then the one person to the right or left of them, doesn't matter, has the control.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to connect with the nail. Can you explain that game? The way I put here, I think that teaches contingency was kind of the goal of the game, but you guys were there. Can you explain this game?
Well, the first thing is to note is that there was involved. There was my pillow.
But they do this all the time.
Yeah. The biggest ideas of it is how much this is the most important part. The most important piece, I think, is we were having so much fun, even though there was this aversive element to it. Right now, obviously, dogs can't choose to go through the aversive, but aversive is it's of nature. It's a fact of life. It's going to happen. Might as well teach them how through these things, right? Now, the game, because we did get to play it, and it was actually a lot of fun. Basically, there's 8 nails. There's 8 people. The goal is to be the first one to drive the nail all the way down. But per rotation, you only get 1 strike with your hammer. Now, I was working carpentry. Whenever I made the post on Facebook, because I was hitting more wood than I was nail. Okay. And so I was already at a disadvantage of this game. But basically, you drive it down. You're focusing on driving the nail down, and you can go soft and take more turns, or you can just strike it with your might and try and get it down in less turns. But yeah, the moment you miss it, you're getting the e-collar immediately. So there is that, hey, let's avoid the eater by striking the nail. But there's also the fact that this is a lot of fun. We're laughing. Even when I'm getting smacked with the e-collar, like everybody's laughing, we're having a good time. But yeah, I'd say that was, in my I'd say it was negative reinforcement more than it was punishing, because I kept coming back to it. I wanted that. And whenever I did strike the nail, the rewards, like the oh, I got it, was so much higher than just boom, here's $1. Because there's that aversion there.
I got a text. So my first training client was a buddy who used to live here. His wife is, I think, in the Coast Guard, and they moved to Washington State. And dude, this is that family that gets like a black lab, Dutchie, and they've rescued a Malinois. So you picture that house. Okay. Not a trainer. Okay. So he's like, dude, we're really struggling. Like, we bring him to the dog park. We think this Mal is going to kill a little dog. Like, that was actually on the first virtual session that we did. And I was like, okay, like, I've never worked. Virtual is different, right? Like, when you're not there. But the first thing we taught was we conditioned negative reinforcement marker, which for me, it's a big deal for me. Or you could use whatever, but conditioning the negative reinforcement marker. And just the other days, like, since we did like 4 sessions, he said the Mal is 500 times better, 500% better. Okay. And I asked him, like, you always, like, as you go through this, is the first time I've ever taught any dog or any person virtually. It's like, what's changed? And he said that, like, obviously the negative reinforcement marker, communication's everything. Then he said the e-collar in the negative reinforcement way helps the dog focus. Do you think going around that, and then one time you missed it, and then you got the aversive, the next time around you're more focused?
For me personally, I don't think I'm the dog that's desensitized to the e-collar, because I've been playing with them for so long. I'm the only player in the circle that has it at max every single time.
Stop it. The e-collar technology goes max for you?
So we did, it was a Garmin, and it was 10, and I'd put it on my neck.
That's crazy, man.
And so, but I was having so much fun with it. But I've been playing with e-collars for so many years, to the point where I'm habituated to the e-collar. So to me, it is what it is. It doesn't really get me. If you want to look at working levels, mine's probably like a 36.
Right.
And so now there was people in the circle though that like I would just watch this hyper fixation on that nail, and I'm seeing there's here striking that nail with so much like gusto and accuracy because they're so afraid to feel that stem. So I was not the best example for that, but absolutely it was clean. It was cleaning up that target for these people, or it was making them concentrate harder than they ever would.
So your story. So two pity, chaos. I'm gonna get my pity and dog 4x the chaos. Fear, force free, not working, compulsion. I don't feel good about this. Tar Heel training, and then your boss said gave you a gift. Like he's like, dude, just start now. I don't think that was his message, but like, okay, start now. And then that was 2 years ago. What's been like working for yourself, finding clients, training dogs, and then what brought you to TWC in the first place?
Yeah, man. So to pick back up, I was doing my own thing for a while, and I was still doing my clicker. I got my prong collar, but I'm really gentle with the prong collar, and I'm really low level on my e-collar stem. To be honest, I thought I was using punishment in my training, but it wasn't until I took the T course where I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't even been using positive punishment. I've been using negative reinforcement, because a lot of people, they think, the harder the aversive is what makes it punishing, but that's not even the case. And I also can't go too far into that because I signed an.
Right.
But I'm working with a mentor. I've got a mentor outside of TWC, and we've been working together for about two years. And he's in New York City. It's completely different. He's the first person to teach me anything about play, social training, really communicating to like with the animal, understanding relationship, like all of these things. Like I'm only in phase 1 of his program. It's a 4-phase program. In New York City, the environment there is just nuts. You got dogs coming from Korean Canine Rescue, from Texas, and they're coming straight to the Big Apple, where they can't even go to a backyard to take a piss.
Yeah.
They have to go load up in an elevator with another dog that they're triggered by. But he knows how to manage these dogs and de-stress these dogs. And so for me, I'm like, that's somebody I'm going to learn from, because he's doing something different than like anybody else in the industry. Learning from him. But then I see, this is a long-term learning experience for me. I plan on being with Brett for the next 5 years or so, more if he'll have me. Obedience is getting sloppy. The dogs are regressing. They're getting tougher to the e-collar and the prong collars. They're tired of working for the same treat. They've already maxed out at boiled chicken. Like, what else is there for this dog? I started seeing some trainers in my area doing the TWC. Like right before this podcast, I was actually with a TWC trainer who's going through the expert program. He invited me over. I brought 2 of my board and trains over. I just posted them like literally right before this. But I was watching these people just play with dogs, and the dogs were not reluctantly coming up to them and then like checking out to see what else is better to do. They're full on just engulfed in the training at like in its genetics. It's allowing the dog to be themselves. But I saw that, did the chase and catch, possession games, out command, puppy stuff, make your dog somebody. I did the whole thing. Started going through that. I saw you on Dylan's play workshop. And yeah, that kind of sparked it. Me was doing all of these things. I started incorporating chase and catch and out and possession games into my training, but I still didn't know what are the other 10 ingredients that goes into playing these games, right? So I'd watch them with my level of understanding in those moments and not know that what I was looking at was actually like gold. And so I was like, I have to know what's going on here a little bit better. And Dylan Jones, day-to-day dog training, he had a huge part of it. I subscribed to his Patreon. I saw his transformations, and I was like, okay, there's something to it. So I got to check this out. And then I saved up.
There's definitely levels to play. Like I left that weekend, and I'll be candid. I've had a few TWC trainers on. I don't think I'm great at play. There's for sure like levels of play, and I definitely would like to even understand the nuances. And one thing that I left that weekend is sometimes I felt like I was initiating play too much. Where
Absolutely.
I think what's so special about really good trainers with the play skill is they almost let the dog initiate play. And I believe that gives the dog a lot of confidence and agency in their life to take risks and show their full personality. So that's definitely something I took away.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you, the play thing was actually new for me. I was a runner with my dogs.
Okay.
So I just wanted to get back in shape. And I would just start running my dogs. Sometimes it would be sprints. So back in college soccer, we'd do 15-second sprint, 45-second rest. So I'd do some sprints. We'd play like kind of tag with them. And then for a portion of that, they would be in a downstay or be like a long run. And then I got a dog, my Pitty, who loved play. So it was like almost inevitable. So I'm unselfishly, whatever, I do want to get in play. But one of the things I took away from you, Devin, is like when you're so committed to this craft, and this could be advice for younger trainers. I want to ask you about this is, how do you reach out? How do you find these mentors? You know, what do you think it is about them taking a liking to you that they don't feel competition towards you and they feel like, hey, like we're just kind of helping each other here. How do you place? Because I think there's something special about that if someone's a young trainer and they're struggling or they want to learn something, they feel bad reaching out to the trainer across the street to get help. But from what I hear is you've had multiple mentors.
Yeah, and I still have my active mentorship going on with Brett. But to be honest, the way I look is I am not in competition with a single dog trainer in my area. There's a mass population of a few million people where I live. I will not train that many dogs in my lifetime. There's no shot. Like none of my grandchildren will ever collectively have that many dogs. Competition is whenever there's a scarcity of resources and you're all trying to get it first. So now I've gotten shot in the foot for this sometimes too. I've tried to network with other trainers, but at the same time, there's so much ego, there's so much protection that people are like, this guy's in here with ulterior motive. So when I show up and I'm trying to help work each other's dogs and I'm trying to learn and ask you questions, it's not to put it into my business model. It's to see like, Matt, what do you have to offer? Something I like that you do with this podcast is you said somewhere you believe you can learn something from like anybody that you come into contact with. And it's so important. People hate on force free, but if I want to learn how to do positive reinforcement, I know exactly where I'm going. Right. But I have people reach out to me. I've got a girl I'm meeting she's a new, really, really cool, like trick training with your dogs. I'm going to go meet her and just talk to her about reactivity and aggression and fulfillment, relationship, and all those things. But it really just comes down to when you do have people in your area, I reach out to them first. And if you're a younger trainer and you're wanting to find somebody to mentor under, shoot them a DM. Like nobody's going to miss that PM. Nobody around here has 1 million followers. It's not happening. In your area, now finding the right mentor. I picked my mentor. I saw him on TikTok like 5 years ago. And then I started seeing all of the other trainers stealing from him and trying to recreate it. And I was like, I'm going to go learn from him. There was a lot of people who have tried to basically steal his identity. They've tried to steal his philosophy. They've done videos like bar for bar on what he's preaching. And I'm like, I'm going there. But once again, understand what you see on social media is only one very small piece of the puzzle. There's usually something more to it. So don't be afraid to just shoot him a comment or shoot him a PM and be like, hey, I saw this. I want to learn more. Because if you're asking me for advice and I actually love dogs and I love my craft, damn right, I want to teach this to you too, because me teaching it to you helps me understand it more. And I can teach these things to clients, but they don't have the passion. They don't care about negative. Other dog trainers like, gee, let me give this to you. This is, even if it's my baby, let me give this to you. It doesn't mean you're going to go out and out-compete me, but it's a good way to rapport with people.
Yeah, I mean, I would just piggyback. Just this last week, I had last 2 weeks come through, join for a pack walk, but she was great with play. And I got to sit back and just watch her play with all the dogs, and it was a really cool experience, right? You get an opportunity to gain a little bit of perspective, and like you said, it's not a client who's like, it's another trainer, so you get to learn. And then, man, your mentor in New York City, I would say New York City has to be the most difficult place that I know in America to train a dog, right? Absolutely. I can't even imagine how you would potty train a dog. I feel like the workload to potty train a dog if you live in an apartment building, That dog has so many opportunities to pee in the elevator, pee on the carpet on the way, right? Like how do you train? And like a sponsorship opportunity. Have you seen those grass pads that people put on the balconies?
Yeah.
Like that's probably a good idea if you live in New York, right?
Absolutely, right? Like you got to help people where they're at. I'm not going to tell the grandma with the bad hip, stop being lean, take your dog out front to pee on the sidewalks in the grays. Like, you just go take your dog to pee on this pad over there.
It's like a 5 minute. New York has to be so challenging to train. I can't imagine.
It's a quest to get outside.
You mentioned something. I wanted to go back, and then we'll go back into TWC, and then maybe advice for young trainers, and from there, I want to talk to you about the funny you posted the other day, where you got that. You mentioned gaslight clients.
Oh yeah.
So what does that mean?
Oh, that's a great question, and that's very, very, very in our industry. Business models, right? Looking at dog training, there's really two routes you can take. You can be in it for the dogs, or you can be in it for the money. Obviously, you can have both if you're really damn good at what you do and you have like a strategic business model. Something I do, when I take a dog home, I know they're going to regress. And I tell the clients they're going to regress. But I also have every other Saturday we do pack walks. In the pack walks, we train, we run scenarios, we talk, we got Q&A. On top of that, I have everybody in a WhatsApp group, the Crossfire Canine alumni. Hey guys, what's going on? Where's your dogs at? Where are we at? I'm in it. We're doing well, right? Financially blessed, absolutely. But at the same time, I give a crap about everybody that comes in the door. And when you make that big investment up front, it's not just the duration of training. It's every single day after that. And so I like community, right? Now, what do a lot of people do? What do a lot of places do? What did I used to do? I mean, some people don't know better. It's just kind of part of the game. Train the dog. Let's week board and train, for example. 2 weeks, dude, you can't even build a relationship with that dog that's worth a crap, right? The dog's never going to show you who they truly are. They're going to be stuck in, all right, man, I'm going to lock in because this guy's a loose cannon. Dog goes home, has his training. I got my before and after video. 2 months later, hey, my dog is barking at the neighbor again. Hey, he's pulling me on leash again. He's doing this again. I'm like, okay, well, you're not doing the work that I told you to do. You're not doing all of these training exercises. You're not doing what I do on a full-time basis because this is literally my full-time job. It's ignoring the fact that these people have real lives, real responsibilities, real kids, dogs, cats, iguanas, and like expecting them to keep their dogs in that ultra-structured daily lifestyle. That's the gaslighting part. Is like, oh, you're not doing what I do on a full-time basis.
I would love to get your feedback. So I think anybody who's in this industry could empathize, like who's done board and trains, who's done privates, they know about the regression, right? Mm-hmm. And everyone's trying to solve for it in their own different ways. I actually stopped doing board and trains almost altogether, mm-hmm. and I shifted my program to day training.
Okay.
Why I did that was it felt like a hybrid model where I had time to build a relationship. I would say with 80 to 90% of dogs, mm-hmm. there are those fearful, unsure dogs where actually the overnight and you feeding them, that's actually where the magic happens. So I do mm-hmm. see the vulnerability there, but I had time to build relationship. But in train, typically there's the drop off period where like you get the dog and the client's just like, take this problem. There's no space to learn or remember anything. Mm-hmm. And they're not going to be able to apply it for weeks. And then they pick up the dog. They're like, I miss my dog. They're really not even going to remember much on that go home lesson is what I found. And I was like, but man, this isn't how dogs or humans learn. So with the day-to-day, let's say the dog comes here twice a week.
Yeah.
Well, I have a drop off on Monday, pick up on Monday, drop off on Thursday, pick. Now I have 4 interactions with the client. And the client could say Tuesday and Wednesday, she was really barking at other dogs. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, let's work on that right now for like 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? During pickup, like a quick session. Mm-hmm. So I moved my entire program from board and train to day training for that very reason, because I had more time in front of the customer for the customer to ask questions and for do these short sessions that like kind of are top of mind mm-hmm. without overwhelming the client. And also the dog was kind of hybrid in the sense where, okay, I could learn something, apply it at home. Learn something, apply it at home, right? Like they didn't have much time to regress.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts? Like, I think that's where the industry is going. I'm surprised there's not more programs out there.
Mm-hmm. I tried running day trains I think it was like last summer. I probably started in June. It only lasted for about 3 months. I was finding, so like now, like let's say like play, right? If I bring a board and train and the dog doesn't want to play because he's like an actual behavioral case,
Yep.
you know, he needs to know that I'm somebody who's guard down.
Yep.
You're going to need more time, right?
Define behavioral.
Let's say, you know, fear, anxiety, aggression, real aggression, right? It's a lot of us. We're not working real aggression cases.
I would say very few.
Very few, right? A dog that's like, this has worked for me in the past. I hope it works now, right? Now in the day trains, I discontinued it personally because I just found it to be. I was also doing board and trains though, so I was doing board and trains and day trains.
Yep.
Which for me that was a lot.
I understand.
My time with the dogs would take away from the board and trains. But I'm not the type of person that like trains the dog and then puts him in the crate.
Yep.
And trains the dog and puts him in the crate. I want them to hang out. But my day trains, they're hanging out while my board and trains are in the crate and the vice versa. And I'm like, this isn't really good. I personally didn't see this as I wanted. But I was also bringing in dogs that like wouldn't take food, that wouldn't play. They were like, dude, I'm just going to be here for the day, adapt to the stress, and then I'll see you in a week. For a lot of the dogs I took in, because I was advertising solely for behavior, I'd see them once a week and they would show up so stressed because you just pulled them out of the routine. For dogs with fear, aggression, and reactivity, they need routine. And that routine has to be something they can look forward to, right? Now, if I bring a dog in for a day train, let's say if I have a facility and it's fun and it's playful and the dog's vibing there and there's not all these crazy distractions and it doesn't feel like the dog just got kidnapped, I think you could do something really good there where the dog's like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to camp for the day. But yeah, I think it really, now as far as the client interaction, I was actually getting some really good results despite my lack of training,
right?
Because I was also sending people home with tutorial videos with their dog. So I would pull the dog out, I'd set them up sideways, I would train the dog, and I'd give it back to the owner with a voiceover on what we're doing. And then the unedited version so they could have both to refer off of. But I also stacked it with remote coaching. Hey, send me a video of you doing the exercise tomorrow. Give me your feedback. I'll give you my feedback. And so there's constant communication going on even between the days. And so even if I would miss the mark for the day train, the owners could carry the torch forward so long as they were actually doing the work and sending me the videos. So with all of my programs, it comes with a remote coaching aspect. And I do it that way where, hey, send me a video of you doing it. Give me your feedback. How do you feel it looked? What could you do better? And then I'll give you my perspective as well. And I think that's taken my progress on all of my programs to a whole nother level.
That's fascinating. You ask them, set up a phone with a tripod, record your session, and then also act like a coach for your session. Like
exactly.
What do the people typically say to you?
The people that actually do it,
yeah.
I'll use an example.
Please.
I have this right now, and they have this lab that just it's not having a good time with the owner. Stand up and yell at him, bark at him. And I gave them like a nugget. I was like, hey, he's doing this because you're reaching out and petting him when he doesn't want to be pet, right?
And this is my dog right now. That just got crazy.
And so I get like videos within a 24-hour period of, is this consent? Is this consent? Hey, he's laying down. Is this consent? I'm like, none of this is consent. If your dog wants to be pet, he's going to let you know, right? And so people will send me videos like that, and then they'll send me a training video, and I'm like, hey, how do you think this went? And they'll kind of spew off some stuff that like I would have spewed off before I got into dog behavior, dog training. And it's like, yeah, we had fun. It was really good time. I'm like, okay, do you think the exercise is working? But then I'll give them like a completely different perspective, because dog training for a lot of people is very surface level. They see the video and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then they try it and then they're like, he's not working with me. I'm like, well, you're checked out. You're thinking about your mechanics. The dog's checked out because you're thinking about the mechanics. You're not being present with your dog. And so like, it's probably getting off on a side tangent right now, but like, there's so many levels to the, let me see how you feel and where you're at right now. And then I'll build off of that and help you understand this a little bit more.
So Devin, this lab, this lab barks in their face, right? They're having a night. How old? Just out of curiosity.
I believe he's 4.
Good dog, like with you, really easy for you to train. Loves food, loves the ball, probably.
Shoot, when I show up, he's taking his bone and he's throwing it in my chest, wanting me to play. You know those little bones with like that's like a purple ribbed plastic thing in the middle. I'll cut him into there, and he's like throwing it at me, like, dude, let's play, let's play, let's play, let's play.
Every single lab is like a dream for a trainer to train. Is that fair to say? If you have any sort of skill,
I've never had an issue with a single lab ever.
Loves everything you want to do, right? Like as long as you're kind of like have any. So he sits there and he stands there and barks in their face, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they reach out and they pet on him.
So in behavior, I'm not going to go into the antecedent or anything like that, but when you start doing something and the dog wants to communicate with you that they don't like this, they're going to give you a warning. Hey, I don't like this. They've probably already given you 5 warnings beforehand. So at first there's petting. Hand goes away. Dog stops growling. Boom. Okay. Now we know what's reinforcing the behavior. But then there's a pattern. I reach out. Now the petting starts. So as soon as we're reaching out, there's the growl, right? Hand goes away. And then coming to sit on the couch next to the dog predicts reaching, predicts pet. So now as soon as she sits down, the dog's side-eyeing, he's lip-licking, he's doing the whole thing. He's just waiting for that opportunity to growl. And those things are not being respected. Sitting down, I'm going to come pet you, whether you like this or not. Dog has bitten the owner before for doing that.
This lab.
The same lab, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What happens now is to the extent of it, she sits down, she pets the dog, he growls, he barks, he walks away, he grabs a bone. Now he's going into appeasement or not appeasement. He's going to find something else to do, kind of ease the awkward.
He's trying to find an ease of stress.
Exactly. He doesn't want to bite the owners.
Yeah.
He's learned that biting doesn't work.
Yeah.
But now or displacement behavior. He's doing these other behaviors to kind of regulate himself. But where this can be really dangerous, and consent is a huge part of dog training, or at least dog behavior, where if it's not respected, eventually your dog's not even going to want to be in the same room as you. And that's what their future looks like right now. And so in my remote sessions, it's like, do not dog. Go out, walk him. Like he's sitting next to you on the couch, accept that as a win. Your dog's not avoiding you right now. He's trying to make it work. He's trying to say, hey, this is enough for me, right? But without that remote coaching and that feedback, I'll never be able to see those things and be like, okay, this is the root of your issues.
Is the issue there like like in relationships, like unmet expectations where like the owner's got this dog to just pet on him, where this dog loves to play, and it's like this, like the owners just want like a cuddle bug, the dog just loves to party, and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have like the lingo here where like the owner could say ready, and the whole interaction with the dog could be something super fun and playful. It could be a run outside if the dog is off leash. It could be tug. It could be fetch. It could be some activity. And then a byproduct of that, where the dog is like fulfilled, it'll probably like show its stomach and you'll get pet on. You'll say, good job. That was fun. All done.
But the thing is, right, when we're playing fetch or we're doing sprints or anything that gets the dog going up, it's very important to understand arousal masks emotions. So when you're playing with the dog,
it masks or it changes?
It'll mask.
Okay.
Now, if the dog is high aroused, but he is playing, yes, play is an emotion, but arousal masks emotions.
Okay.
So think about it this way, right? Me and my wife, let's say we're not having a good relationship right now, but I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to make amends. Hey, babe, let's go out. Let's play some laser tag. Let's do something high energy, high arousing, fun. I'll shoot you from back. Like we're going to have a lot of fun here. It's an incredible time, right? But then we come home after the fact, and it's just me and her on the couch in the silence, and we still have this unresolved conflict between us. This is where things get weird. That is just because we just had a fun time, it doesn't mean I can come over here and start smooching on you. We still have to figure out what's causing this rift between us, right? So, this is something I learned from my mentor, Brett, is like, he teaches low arousal play. When you see two puppies or dogs just kind of row, 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 the oxytocin production is just nasty. There's this feeling of intimacy and closeness, and real bond that you're never going to see through high arousal play. You're never going to see it because we're out running around having a good time. We're distracted, but we're not solving the issue that's actually causing this rift between us. And so in their case, the dog will go out and play fetch. It'll go out and it'll play tug, and he does a beautiful job like doing those things. But when they get back home and the dog is on the couch, there's something that's unresolved here. It's that you me without my consent. You keep touching me without my green light, right? If I keep touching my wife and she's like, hey, not right now. And I'm like, no, screw that. You're my wife. I'm going to touch you. Well, eventually she's going to leave me. But your dog can't leave. They're stuck with you. And so they find ways to adapt to that. But it doesn't mean that they're just automatically going to one day wake up and be like, okay, I forgive everything. Dogs don't forgive you easily. It takes them a really long time.
And what's the answer there? Is it just like patience for the dog on their own going up and asking for a pet, which is the consent, and then you like I don't know, throw a party, but like you like get really happy with that?
Yeah, the first step is put the dog on a routine that he can look forward to, right? The second thing is stop touching the dog unless you're putting his leash on. If you're putting his leash on to take him outside, to go play with him, to go do these things, or you're taking him out into nature to have a relaxed, walk, go out and spend a couple hours in the woods together. You do these things every day, right? You feed him, share food with him. At the table, share some food with that dog. Do everything you can to put deposits into this dog's like relationship bank. I read a book called His Needs, Her Needs. It's a marriage book. And one of the biggest things it talks about is love bank deposits. Deposit. That's where they're at. They're in such a deficit that they just have to keep putting in deposits every single day. But every time they touch it, they're taking a withdrawal. But they're already in the hole, so they just keep putting themselves further and further and further into debt. That's the answer. But that can take a really, really long time.
What I'm hearing from you, so I made a video a while ago. This is one of my personal favorite videos, right? Because as you make, you're like, that I kind of missed, but this one was a good one. Is the deposit bank? Like I think of it as an ATM. It's before you can withdraw, you have to deposit. And what I took away from you, Devin, is being a good trainer is having so many tactics to deposit, right? So in the beginning, the only option or two options I had was go for a walk in nature on a long line.
Right.
I considered that a deposit.
Absolutely.
Up until the point where I realized that's a deposit for only 80% of the dogs, right? Some dogs, they're like, this is the worst thing I've ever experienced.
Absolutely.
And some dogs are like lukewarm. And the deposit, like some of them are like, this is like $1 million. Some of them are, this is like $100. Others are like, this is -5. You have to figure out, and I think what I'm taking away as a trainer is that you have to have more than one way to deposit. You have to be very thoughtful about that dog in front of you and what is a deposit and what is a withdrawal, because what a deposit looks like for that dog is different from maybe another dog.
Absolutely. And this is something I struggle with personally, is learning to read the dog. My mentor is in the back of my head every single day. Learn to read the effing dog. You're not reading the dog. I'll send him a video. I'm like, look at this beautiful play video. And he's like, you're not reading the effing dog. And like, he'll tear me apart on it. And so that's something I've been paying very, 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 very close attention to. And I used the same thing. I still do. I'm like, all right, can't get you to play. You're not too crazy about the treats. Let's go out into the woods and just hope for the best. And then while you're out there, though, you start noticing that he's sniffing. He's looking at you a little bit. And here's a banger. This will be a weird one, but dogs, if we can observe dogs, like let's say you're with 2 dogs at a time, observe what they do. One dog goes to sniff a bush, the other dog comes up to sniff the bush. Yeah. So you can bet your butt I'm sniffing bushes too. I want to be a part of this with you, right? So at the end of the day, if just taking them out to do these adventures, it could be fulfilling by itself, but sometimes it just takes being, hey, dude, you're not alone in this. I'm right with you, buddy. Let's figure this out together. And that right there, I think, is the most beautiful piece of just dog training in general, is understanding that we're 2 completely different species, but we can come together and we can just let each other know, dude, you're not alone.
All right, fine. I'll be vulnerable. I was like, should I say this or not? This is a good one for you guys.
What you got?
You know how male dogs typically, but dogs pee on top of each other's pee? Sometimes I'll pee in the woods with them. Bro,
I stay peeing in the woods because I can't I drink so many of it, it just comes right through me. I don't have a choice, but bro, do things with the dogs. Be with the dog. And here's something really, really, really important, right? We're mentioning about play. When you struggle with play, understand that play is an emotion. Yes, it's something you can do, but it's an emotion. And when we try and force a dog to play because we want them to play, chances are you're going to turn them off from play unless they're really driving and they're like, dude, let's freaking go as soon as they see the toy, right? Something I've been just observing is when I go out, so I got these Ray-Ban Metas, I can listen to music in them. Amazing. When I go out with the dog, I've got the dog on a 50-foot line. I'm over there kicking the ball by myself. And I'm like, oh yeah, and I'm chasing it, and I'm grabbing it, and I'm laying on it, and I'm making it, stalk away from me, and I'm throwing it, and I'm going to chase it. And the dogs are watching you, and they're like, dude, this guy's crazy. What the hell is he doing? But there's this curiosity. To also answer your question about how do you make these deposits, when your dog is curious about you, that curiosity is the bridge to play, right? So everybody, the owners, they're doing the same shit every single day. They're waking up, they're letting the dog potty, they're going to work, they're coming back, they're putting on the TV, they're talking about politics, there's tension. Oh my God, look what I just saw Becky posted on Facebook. Whereas I'm walking around with a backpack, just adventure time. I've got toys back there, I've got long lines. And I'm taking it off and I'm putting it down and I'm walking around and I'm sniffing shit and I'm crinkling leaves. I'm walking around and I'm stalking into my backpack to find a toy. It's like, what are you doing? But the dog is like, this guy's awesome. He's got some shit. And like it's just that emotion of learning how to be in the play, not playing with your dog.
If you guys have ever watched the Cornerstone collection, there's chase and catch and then there's possession games. Ivan is like his 4-hour podcasts are incredible. But there's like a 40-minute span in one of the videos where Ivan's running around with this Malinois who doesn't want to do anything. It was the craziest thing to watch. Like if you're watching this, you're like,
well, that's really important too, right? Because Ivan was the ball. Ivan was playing with the ball, but the dog was having to be vulnerable enough to join him. When you're a little kid and you're watching your dad and your uncle play blackjack at the family reunion, but you're over there and like you have no idea what's going on, there's a part of you that's like, man, I wish I was good enough to play that game with them. But you're not, some kids are not confident enough to get up and be like, hey, can I play? Right? But we expect, hey, Jimmy, get over here. Let's play some blackjack. Get in here right now. We need another. Kid's like, hey, dude, this is a lot of responsibility. This is a big ask right now. I don't know if I'm ready for this. And that's where people get stuck. But if you can if you can take the focus and just like play around the dog. I saw a cool video, Damn Good Dog Training. She was just throwing a ball back and forth to a client. And the dog was just like, huh? And the dog ended up chasing the ball with them. And so, so new trainers, they give up way too early. I give up early sometimes and back starts hurting. And I'm like, all right, bro, you're just completely checked out. I'm going to end it here. But even if you do that, you have to leave the same way you came in. Optimistic. You didn't get it today, you might get it tomorrow.
Optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Man, there's a wealth of knowledge. It's cool that you're through this course and like I'm going to say you're sharing course materials, you're sharing anecdotes that you apply in your life where the course materials are helping you. That's the way I'm taking it.
Absolutely.
Do you have trainers working for you?
I tried earlier this year. I tried to. The weirdest thing happened. She was a good trainer. There was nothing wrong with her training by any means. But the day she came on board, the leads stopped coming in. It wouldn't even come into the pipeline. And then the day she left, we had like 5 inquiries that evening, and everything picked right back up. I saw it as a sign from God, being like, "Hey, dude, it's not time to scale yet." And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to get back on my knowledge. I'm going to get my education up. I'm going to make sure that I have my foundation is strong enough. That way, when I bring somebody else in, it's not crumbling because I'm trying to appease this other person.
Man, that's a cool. So it's funny how we read signs from God. I love that you're a man of God, first off. God helps quite a bit, whatever religion you have, the more you pray, and this isn't advice for you guys, this is just what I do. It helps quite a bit just to have like a good center of gravity, a good equilibrium. But I would say, so I hired a trainer and I've interviewed probably like 50 or 60, and I was always on the fence that I didn't want that responsibility. I could run this on my own, But then I was like, I wanted to do a mobile van where it had kind of like a rehab, where it had a suit ball, an exercise ball, because my Pity tore both of his knees. I was kind of an idiot. I was playing fetch, where he should have just been a tug dog through and through.
Gotcha.
So he couldn't walk. This was like maybe a year and change ago. And then I started doing stability work with him, and it recovered him 80%. Maybe even yesterday he was running faster than I've ever seen him run. So I was like, man, it would be cool to put this in like a mobile van, And I'm in South Florida, so we could go house to house. I used to own a mobile grooming business. So I put out like a feeler on Indeed to hire someone. And just like a great employee, a great trainer, like just someone who has like a good knack for the dogs. I actually would say like maybe a little bit of a blank slate from training. She had a positive only experience, but like, and the leads dried up.
Yeah.
Almost like that. And then you like question yourself as like, what are you going to do? I remember this because October, we didn't get a single new dog, but we rode through it. We got over it, and I had trusted the process. I asked myself, like, if this employee was no longer here, could I find someone at the same level or higher for this or not? And I was like, no. Went into my savings. Savings are incredibly important, guys. That's one thing I learned in the last 18 months. It's like your nest egg to mess up. And we rode it. And this last month was so our busiest, probably the busiest month I've had in my business career. But I remember that you're like, oh, how does this is so weird.
Yeah.
Like 0 dogs in 1 month. I've never had that. And it was that. It was like, how does that happen?
I didn't have a savings to fall back on. So yeah, bro, I should probably take some of your advice on that one for sure.
I didn't have savings for a long time, man. We all learn skills like, and one of them is with dog training. So there's like the dog training side of things. I don't feel anyone's really helping on the dog business side. And yeah, like the advice is like, become the best dog trainer you can be. Right. Obviously. But like there are like tactical things that you can do to be better from a business perspective so that you have more margin for error, for example. Let me ask you something. Well, actually, before we get into that, the video you posted a day ago, how did you find that? So I might have my team edit this in, but this man sitting in front of me was quite a dancer. He's stroking his hair now. That was incredible. So a day ago, you guys will probably see this in a week. Well, maybe I'll ask my team to edit it in. This guy was a dance instructor.
It's time. Cue the music. Why you join up with me today? We have fun.
When Marines get bored, we find fun things to do, right? When you're on deployment, you're not playing video games all day. You go to the gym, you eat, you train, you learn, and then you have downtime. On your downtime, creativity flows, and it's very natural. When I was during my last deployment, I was like a quote unquote micro influencer. There was really no influencer, but like people knew me. I could go to the chow hall to eat and people would be like, oh my God, it's Brother Blancet. But we used to pump out a bunch of funny videos. We had one, it was Swollen Valor, where I was confronting he was a scrawnier Marine, like lean Marine, a 1,500-pound club shirt on. It was like way oversized. And we called him out for Swollen Valor. We had some, it was like group fitness, like AA, where we've got dudes hiding like pre-workout and they're like in between shots, they're over there doing pre-workout. But we had it was a Zumba. It was like a Zumba class. And it was funny because it was not scripted. I literally was like, buddy, his last name's Fucks. He's got the coolest last name. He was my roommate. And we got in Florida, by the way. He lives in Florida. But we're just sitting in these barracks and I'm like, hey dude, let's get some guys together and make a video. Like nobody has anything better to do. So I just go door to door. Within a span of 15 minutes, it went from the creation of that video is going to happen to it being complete. I just went door to door. I was like, hey, you guys want to be in a video? And they're like, sure. I was like, grab your ISO mats. Your ISO mats are the mats you sleep on when you're outside training. Grabbed everybody. They were like, what are we doing? I was like, Zumba, I guess. And like when I start getting into a flow, like that, there's just like this level of creativity I have. Like I'm a jokester, I'm a clown, I'm a class clown kid. Like all these things, like I don't have like social anxiety like a lot of people do. Like I'll just go out and do stupid shit and be like, yeah, this is the love of the game at this point. And so yeah, got our guys together. I was like, hey, fuck. So I was like, record this. I'm gonna sit on the wall. I'm gonna say, cue the music. We had the I forget the name of the song, but we had that on standby. And then the dudes just came out. They freaking nailed it. It was supposed to be a choreographed follow my dance, but it was just chaos. People are punching the wall. They're throwing their mats around. I did the worm, and then dudes are just humping the floor. One guy's doing push-ups, but it was just like the most beautiful depiction of what it was to be like in the Marine Corps infantry. Because yeah, dude, you can watch the movies and you see all the crazy explosions and the smoking cigarette. And I've been in the shit, but it's really just a bunch of kids just being kids, man. We're kids that are legally we're legally trained and expected to go to our country. So like, yeah, man, there's a reason people come back with all kinds of mental stuff because you kind of lose you lose your humanity a lot of it. You also gain that camaraderie of, man, I've got a tribe that I can just do stupid stuff with. But that's how that video got created, and it actually blew up when I made it. It was my first time to get over 1 million views, and everybody was loving it. All the different military communities were sharing it, and then that was like my big break. And then I got out of the Marine Corps.
And then so you know how like there's like the training dogs in prisons like programs,
Mm-hmm.
helping veterans. Like, first off, thank you for serving our country. I don't know if you, yeah, like that's a huge deal, right? And I think the person I've had on here, like, you know, they love America, right? And the freedoms that, like, other than Brits that I've had on, I'm speaking to you guys. I'm sorry. So thank you for serving our country. That's I want to put that out there. But this thing is like the veterans that come back here, it's not as easy to assimilate for some of them.
No, not at all. Yeah, man.
Have your buddies or like the people you served with, have they all assimilated okay?
So there's a reason I got into dog training business. I'm not a good employee. I've worked at Petco, I've worked carpentry, I've worked at a jail. I've worked at so many different places where the jail was the closest thing I had to that thrill of just going out and doing grunt stuff with my friends. But a lot of my friends, I've had quite a handful of friends commit suicide. I've had a lot of friends that go work linemen. They become cops. Most of the guys that I know, there's like very few guys that I was in the infantry with that went off and did like business or became doctors. Like that's the outlier veteran, for at least from my personal experience. But yeah, a lot of us, we get into, you know, high adrenaline, high stress jobs, creative jobs. I think dog training is a good mix of creativity and adrenaline sometimes, and fun and novelty. But yeah, I struggled for a while. I've got the mental disability and everything from them. Give me a nice little paycheck every month. But dogs has kind of been it's been my fail safe of like, I get to hang out with this animal that doesn't give a crap about my baggage. He doesn't care where I've been or who I am. He just wants to know that I'm going to take good care of him and we're going to go out and do fun stuff together. But yeah, it's not an easy transition for really anybody. From age 17, they're beating into your head. In high school, dude, when I enlisted in the Marine Corps, we'd show up. It's like every one Thursday a month, we'd go PT. We were in the Pool Lee program where we're about to ship off to camp. And like, you're a high school kid and you're doing stretches and you're screaming kill at the top of your lungs in between each stretch. And you got people coming down talking about war stories from Fallujah. And so it's this indoctrination of like getting your brain equipped to go out and do some violent stuff and to see some pretty heinous things. Fortunately, I never had to see anything heinous. Coolest thing I got to do, patrolling through a base in Iraq, I got to walk through it was like 14 dogs on a ridge line. I got to walk right through them, and I was petting the dogs as we walked by. And that's like the craziest thing I got to do outside the wire. But yeah, man, answer your question. Not a lot of my friends have assimilated fully. Like, I don't think anybody does. I can meet any Marine out in the wild that's like, dude, you're my best friend.
Well, a few Marines actually are in the dog space. I mean, I think Nick White, who runs Sit Stay Learn, Chomer. I actually had Paula from my last podcast, Boston Culture. She was in the Marines.
Yeah.
Young lady. So what I heard, what I took away was adrenaline, purpose, right? Like adrenaline, like arousal. You could still get to kind of experience those, like kind of like the competition. I don't know if that's the word, but like the high state of creative, like in the sense of I get to kind of think for myself and find solutions for myself instead of someone telling me what to do and my entire day is programmed.
Absolutely.
And then purpose, like my work matters.
Yeah.
If you could, those I feel like were the three that stuck out to me.
No, absolutely. I think you definitely nailed it. And the military teaches you how to be structured. It teaches you how to put others' needs before your own. It teaches you how to wake up at the crack of dawn outside and do hard shit, no matter if it's raining, if it's cold, if it's hot. I mean, obviously you got to take the dog's welfare into consideration, but it's just that servitude first mentality for, it's the dogs, but it's really about the people, man. I want to serve people. And over where I'm at, it's a huge military community. And so it's also a way for me to give back to these guys.
Can we talk about the dogs in the heat? Because that is one of my big pet peeves.
Yeah,
they have whole like asphalt is this hot. This is how hot it is. Have you seen these?
Yep.
Yeah. But like, dude, I'm in Florida. It gets to like 100 degrees here. The dogs are fine if they're in nature.
Yeah.
Only overheating when they're on concrete. So like, yeah, take the dogs welfare. But like, I've gone out on runs. The dogs are fine. Other than the Frenchies, which I've banned from my program.
Yeah, me too.
You banned the Frenchies?
Frenchies and pugs, there's no chance.
Why? What made you do that?
I'm just, one of them's not going to be able to breathe anymore.
Yeah. Dude, and they go like this. So like they go from like partying, having the best time ever to like, I'm like, oh my God, we have to turn this whole walk around right now.
Yeah.
It's stressful. That's awesome, man. Talk to me. You see your business like in 5-10 years. What are some of like the high level goals? Doesn't have to be financial. Just like force free to the 2-week board and train. TWC has been, it sounds like amazing for you. Love the community. You're getting results for clients by all stretch of the imagination. Things are going great. What would you want to see happen in the next 5-10 years?
Next 5 to 10 years. My goal is to not to advertise my services anymore. Biggest thing, and I'm currently looking right now, is I was with, his name's Todd Valentine, K9. He's a TWC certified trainer. He's going through the expert program right now.
Okay.
He's the one who invited me over to his place. And like, yeah, it was an awesome networking. I got to talk to him. He got to work one of my dogs, but I got to see the perfect vision of what I want. He has this huge like training field. I'm going to give you to his house, but he's got this huge training field in the front. He's got some chickens and donkeys. He's got his own kennel space for the dogs. And then he has his house. And like, I literally got to see like the perfect of what I want literally in the next month. And so, I do want to scale the team. I don't expect to employ people that are going to be doing TWC stuff with the dogs. I just want good trainers that care about the dogs. And I want to have a business that's self-sustaining. My goal is just to keep working with my mentor now, the behavioral stuff to a point where I can see any dog be like, yeah, I got you, dude. As long as it's not medical or like some crazy genetic case. But I want to have my obedience kind of doing its own thing while I'm focusing on like behavior training, helping these SADs be happy.
So bringing a trainer to over 60-70% of the obedience, you help rehabilitate the emotions, the mindset, and have a beautiful facility. You still have your pitties?
I just one. I've only got one of my old dogs with me. She's about 8 years old now.
Do you see yourself getting into the Malinois game like all of these trainers do?
Dude, so I have a toy Australian Shepherd right now as well. His name's Ragnar. He's like this.
Is it yours or your wife's?
He's mine. He's ours. He's a family dog. My son, he plays with him quite a bit. He's 3 this month. But dude, I didn't have any like thought until I went to Ivan's for the trainers weekend. And we were just like covered in puppies and playing with puppies and watching these Malinois in person. And I was like, I'm going to start planting that seed in my wife's brain now. That way in the next 5 years, I can bring one of those bad boys in. But part of me does want to explore the working dog world, IGP or Mondio Ring or any of the ring sports. Eventually, I think I'm going to get into that because there is like this scratch. There's like this itch that I want to. So I want to know what it's like.
Sure.
But I also think it can help me understand, understand dog behavior from a completely different perspective. For me, I want to understand everything: behavior, genetics, instincts, breeding, raising, like the whole thing. I want to know it all. And so like that definitely could be in the future for sure.
Devin, put on this and we'll wrap. So remember back to the day training we talked about?
Yeah.
And this just happened like, I don't know if I want to say by accident, but like I created a puppy program and I never thought I would actually love the puppies as much as I do. But basically I live here in Boca Raton, which is an hour north of Miami.
Okay.
So right around the holidays, actually a lot of people get puppies.
Okay.
So I think puppy board and trains are the stupidest things in the world. So, but the day program works great for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy to build a relationship with them. Mm-hmm. They'll come around, even if they're the scariest puppy in the world, they'll come around pretty quickly to do the session. So I do 30 to 40 sessions between, 10 weeks and 8 months, 10 weeks, 7 months, right? And this is my protocol. This is what I want to teach puppies. I want them to understand leash pressure. Okay. I want them to understand cooperative play. I want them to learn how to kind of follow your hand with food. Okay. Right, you could shape that, and then socialization, interactive, and neutral. Those are the in like different environments, right? So those are the 4 things I teach. Leash pressure, like when you feel a leash, most puppies, they want to pull against it. Leash pressure, play, cooperative, and that could be chasing each other, running each other, fetching, tugging. Even these little 5-pound cavapoos, they love to fetch. I have quite a few of them. Same thing, but food, right? Like these food come here. We do stability with them where they have to climb over different objects to build their confidence. Okay. And then socialization, just observe, and then, hey, go meet people. I was never the guy that puppies should have never understood that.
Absolutely.
That I do day training. I've had some of the best, my puppies, not mine, but client puppies, you just see some of the stuff they do. Like I have a 3-month-old puppy. He could hold a down stay, and he recalls faster than me, faster than like any of the adult dogs. Man, I've really enjoyed the day training program for puppies recently.
Okay. Yeah.
What would you add to that puppy program? What would you subtract?
So, and obviously it always depends on your end goal. It depends on putting the client first and like what their life looks like with the dog older. For me personally, so I can use my puppy for an example. Ragnar, he's about 5 months and like a week now. I haven't taught him leash pressure. I haven't taught him any commands. Because from my perspective, now the play is everything. And there's so many. One of the biggest things of play that I do with my puppy is called locomotor play. Well, I learned this from my mentor, but I'm not going to drop the protocol because it's one of his babies.
Okay.
But basically, playing with your environment is locomotor play. Playgrounds, kids on the playground is locomotor play. Right? So there's so many different forms of play. There's personal play, there's object play, there's high arousal play, low arousal play. I think object play, I think I said that. But I'm focusing so much on my dog's play and my dog's ability to turn it off. So yes, like you have your ready cue, you play a little bit, you have your enough, you have your emotional regulation, you have all these things. The most important part for me is like my dog's on a harness pulling me to everything he wants to pull me to, because he gets to pull through this pressure and turn it off when he gets to the objective, right? So for me, I'm wanting, just from a bigger picture, my goals are different than yours in some facet. I want my dog to pull me to everything because I want my dog to be so damn confident that if there's something he's curious about, he's going to go check it out. He's going to go investigate that. Now, it's going to create some problems down the line with my leash walking and all that stuff, but I'll address that. He's on harness. Right now, my dog wears nothing on his neck. There's no leash on his neck, because whenever I do incorporate leash pressure when I guess now, I started doing chasing cats with him like 3 days ago. Now I'm going to start incorporating that leash pressure to actually mean something. With young puppies, I'm very, very, very careful about leash pressure. Now, if you're like, obviously, dude, like I put my let's say you put a puppy on and he's like, oh shit, like I'm freaking out. How do I get out of this? Yeah, take that time to be like, bro, this way, this way, this way, this way.
Okay.
There. You can teach that just taking them out to take a potty or taking them on a walk on a flexi around town, right? But for me, I don't want the dogs to be like neck hard. I don't want them to get used to wearing things on their necks a lot during their most formative years, and then be like, okay, we have to use a prong because dude's pulling right through the martingale. But the most important piece is when we're looking at young puppies, they're so curious, right? So if I have anything on my puppy's neck and he's like, I want to go investigate that bush, and then he clotheslines himself, well, now he could possibly be self-correcting, and it could curiosity of I want to go investigate that, I want to go sniff that, I want to go explore it, and then you could start accidentally creating like a pessimistic dog. The pessimistic dogs, they're not fun to work with.
It's funny how like in these terms in this space, because I got what you got as you were explaining it. So when you hear leash pressure, you hear short leash, teaching a dog how to walk on a leash.
It's for me. I imagine it's if I pull this way, it's come to this way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. For me personally, I kind of just like as I'm taking dogs out, they kind of learn it. But I use the flexis, and so when they're on the leash and they're like pulling and they're like, oh my god, I'm like, bro, just come on, dude.
That's what I'm implying, because a lot of the dogs I get here are doodles.
Okay.
So when they do that is when they're on concrete and they have to touch grass, and Florida grass is like wet.
Okay.
So as soon as they touch grass, they want to book it the first time because it's really wet.
Absolutely.
So mine is on a flexi or like a 30-foot leash where I just say we're going this way.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as they're on the grass and they begin to start the concept of following us, they have that whole leash to go, and I want them to go explore the world.
Yeah.
So when I say leash pressure, this is what's amazing. Why I love these conversations. One person hears it versus another, because I got some TikTok comments about it too.
Gotcha.
You just need to follow us this grass. You're going to see that this grass is fun, and then I want you to start exploring stuff like the pickleball court we're going to come across 100 yards away, or this new field, and they start loving it. Right? Mm-hmm. They saw that leash pressure led them to a big party with their friends. And the second thing they do with the leash pressure is with food is navigate the playground, right? Like a lot of puppies aren't going to want to get up on that playground on their own.
Yeah.
That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have some way to put a tiny little bit of pressure on for him to jump on that first stair and then take the pressure off, right?
Right. I'm a little different. The local play thing I'm talking about, I teach dogs to navigate those things by themselves.
How?
I can't. It's a protocol that I don't know.
Oh, really? You can't. It's that proprietary.
Check out Who's a Good Boy Industries if you want to learn more. But it's for puppies. The exercise is more sensory to the critical socialization period. You know, teach them to do stuff on bubble wrap, cardboard, plastic, over things, under things, through things.
Yep.
It's also good for dogs who have a lot of environmental stress. Same kind of thing, but it's the way you create the exercise that gives it its benefits.
What's it called?
My mentor?
Yeah.
Who's a Good Boy Industries?
Who's a Good Boy Industries?
On to him and like let him know I plugged him and you wanted to learn more about that. But I'm not gonna share his babies.
No, what's of all this is like is the learning, right? It's like we said in the beginning. Let's wrap with this. Without giving away anything proprietary about TWC, you know, how has, since you started the program, I know it's 1 of 4, how has it reshaped how you are as a trainer? What are some takeaways someone who's listening to this, who's also aspiring, could maybe just think about things a little bit differently? Yeah, man.
One of the biggest things, if I were to go head to head with myself a year ago, I would make my old self look like I just read my first dog training book ever. The way I interact with dogs now, I used to be the scientist in a lab coat. You're going to pull that lever, you're going to get your piece of cheese, right? I would be very standoffish, make the dog figure out the objective or the target behavior for said training exercise. And everything was very mechanical. Now it's very integrating that social, like teamwork dynamic into the training. When I have a dog that's experiencing pressure, I'm not like, figure it out. I'm like, come on, buddy. This way, that pressure, this is how you get out. And but it's also that the way I play with dogs. The way I play with dogs now, it's because I've spent so much time trying to force it. Play's an art that like I don't know how many people have mastered it, but like it's one of those things that you're at any point of your journey, there's more to learn about play.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's really good.
Well, can I push back on you, Devin?
Send it.
So I watch Navy SEALs videos. I think we all have them. Don't let me leave you with. I want to know your favorite military, whatever movie. You know, is it Lone Survivor? You know, 13 Hours in Benghazi, whatever it will be. It could be some old school one. Mine's Zero Dark 30 for the record.
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket?
Dude, so my logo jacket, there's this famous helmet that says "Born to Kill." Look at my dog.
Born to Kill. Okay.
Born to Heal. Huh?
Is that a bulldog?
It says Born to Heal. It's the Marine Corps mascot.
Born to Heal.
Yeah. It's my favorite military movie.
So like some people on the internet like don't repeat the command twice or whatever. But dude, you remember this with your buddies. Like we were lifting in the weight room. Our buddies would, come on, you could do this. You can do this.
Yeah.
So I feel like that social aspect came natural to you.
Absolutely. Well, it didn't though, because I'm an all or nothing kind of guy.
Okay.
When I went through chase and catch, it's teaching you to be the scientist, or not chase and catch. When I went through Catch K9 Trainers Academy, it's teaching you to be the trainer, the scientific trainer.
Like you say, come, it out. When he finally figures it out, reward. You're like a robot.
Click.
Versus like if the dog's struggling, you're like, come on, right here, and you get on your knee and he's not going to learn it any slower. In fact, he'll probably learn it faster with a little bit of better emotion.
Absolutely. Because he's not just left in this awkward silence of like, what do I do? You're like, brother, like let's say I'm using Pops for a down. Come on. I'll get on the ground with the dog.
Yep.
I'm like, down here, buddy, down here. And then if he gives me even a little bit of gift, okay, go get the reward. Right. So you don't always have to get the full behavior. You can still kind of shape it even within your play. If the dog's having trouble sitting, well, first of all, ask yourself, are your hips okay? But as soon as the dog makes a little bit of an effort, reward the effort. I think people get so caught up in, I have to get the sit today. Dude, this Annie, the lab I've been training, day one, whenever we worked on her down, she gave me this. Ooh, okay, through the ball. The next day, down, bow, like it flew to the ground.
Don't you think it's like if you actually think about it, like transferring that to humans, if you just think about it, the humans are never going to be the scientist ever, or they wouldn't have brought you the dog.
Absolutely.
What you're teaching is not the sit, it's the eager as the dog can be, the eager compliance, some sort of command, right? It's like we're rewarding the effort because eventually, like, we want you in the habit of trying to figure out what your owners are going to ask you because they're going to be imperfect in the way they ask you, no question, right?
Absolutely.
That's the stuff that isn't going to transfer to the pet dog.
Yeah. Like the way what I teach, right? There's like two things that I'm like, dude, you have to do this. Heel. Everybody wants it. Every dog owner wants it. But I'm very good with the owners. This is not how the dog walks long term. This is how you walk past people. This is how you walk past other dogs. This is how you walk past scooters and skateboards. Give your dog the freedom he deserves because he lives with you and you're not giving him a lot of freedom. Every opportunity you can. This is going to be a non-negotiable. Come do the behavior, but you're going to go right back out to do the thing. Because it's teamwork. You're working with a dog who's trying to make sense with everything. Coming back when called. Dude, you're coming back. I don't care. All right? You're coming back. I'm going to use pressure. I'm going to get you back here. But once again, buddy, you're going right back out. I know you want the squirrel. If you come back, guess what? I'm going to get the squirrel with you. Right? Now, the sits, the downs, the middles, the place. They can all be pretty. They can look flashy whenever I'm playing with these dogs on Instagram. But if I tell a dog to lay down and he gets up and he's like, dude, I'd rather sit. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I'm not going to crush you for that. But that's something I relate heavily to the client. Dude, this is a dog. These two things you can be hard on. Like the other things, like you can stay lax with it. And so, but a lot of owners, they think you have to have this domineering relationship with your dog. And as a professional, you can step in and be like, it's okay to let your dog have some fun.
I see every time I have a conversation with people who are going through the TWC program, just finished it, or, you know, were like OGs. I see why it's growing, right? I think it's so important to remember there's no perfect formula for training dogs.
Absolutely not.
Every breed is different. It's been raised different. You get it at different stages in their lives, right? So there's so like it's like solving for too many variables. But it's like, what's the best outcome for the quality of life of the dog and the owner? And I would say, even though I haven't gone through TWC like that, I see why it's at the forefront, why it's at or near the top of any school. And I think it's only been around for 5 years.
Yeah.
Because it prioritizes the well-being of the dog, understands how important freedom is, which is I can't believe that even needs to be said, right?
No kidding.
And also understanding what like the pet dog owners really care about and lastly, what they can actually have the of doing with their skill set and their day-to-day schedule.
Oh yeah.
Where so many programs fall short is like place, he'll walk around the block. I don't know. I don't think I've had a pet owner who couldn't do that.
No. And I used to teach that like religiously. Dude, when your dog's hanging out, he needs to be in a place. When you exit the room, he has to be in a crate. When you take him from the crate to the backyard, have him on a leash. And I used to be like a control freak. I was able to break that a little bit before through the TWC program, but the TWC program like really, they're like you treat the dogs like dogs. Let them have fun, because when it does come time to tell them no, it has to matter. If you're telling them no for jumping in the trash and jumping on the counter and jumping on your guests and chewing on the chew toy for too long, and your dog's going to do something that's going to get somebody hurt, and you say no for the millionth time that day, dog's going to be like, F you, bro. But if 99% of the dog's day to day is we're going out and we're playing, we're hanging out, we're lounging around the house, dude, be a dog. But whenever it's time to put the no down, the no really transfers to the dog, because they're like, okay, I don't like what just happened right here, and avoid that at all costs.
Don't you think they emotionally know if this person cares about them? Like just through their actions, not their words?
Absolutely. I definitely think so. Dogs have, they have the same emotional spectrum that we have as humans. Dogs, I learned this from a mentor like 2 days ago, and it blew my mind. Dogs feel the emotion of care. You can have a dog that's aggressive and hates your guts, and he could be over there shivering because there's fireworks or a thunderstorm. And you could go to this dog that the day before would want to tear your face off and just comfort this dog and hang out with him. And he will know for like without a shadow of a doubt that you're there him through that. Dogs feel the emotions way deeper than we recognize. When we look at our phones, your dog's checking out.
For sure.
If I'm taking a dog on a walk and I want them to go explore, I'll pull my phone out and play on my, like literally just play with my home screen. And then the dogs go mosey off. And I'm like, thank you, dude.
I think where the place and the short leash, he'll like walk around the block, man, I just think they feel like they're prisoners. So like,
absolutely.
So I think they eventually they're just like, man, I'm just going to look for stuff to get into.
Absolutely. I used to work at a jail, bro. These inmates, they would pop their sprinkler heads above in their cells. They would their cells just to get a rise out of the guards.
But you know, it's one of my first mentors. We'll wrap with. I keep it 90 minutes. It's Stoney Dennis. I don't know if you ever heard that name.
I've heard of Stoney.
Not like he's not in our circles, but I loved how he did it. To me, it was Zen dog training. It was dog training.
Gotcha.
He called it negative attention seeking.
Yeah.
So like you don't get any attention, right? Because when you don't get any attention for anything, it's do this, do this, do this. And obviously dogs want attention. How much attention? But dogs want attention in some capacity. So they start to look for other ways to get attention. And if they're knocking over the trash, jumping on the counter, whatever, and they're getting yelled at, they're like, hey, I don't love what happens, but at least I'm noticed.
If the function of those behaviors is to get attention, it'll be reinforced when they get the attention. My son, I know we're trying to keep this.
It's okay.
My son, when he was like 2.5, like 6 months ago, I'd be on my phone doing my thing on Instagram, texting clients. And I would just hear the dog food bin open, and I would just hear him start putting food on the floor. I'm like, oh, you dirty. He knew that would get me to go hang out with him, right? And dogs are way more genius with the way that they get our attention, because they can't just be like, dude, with me. What
did you do? Did you ignore him?
No, I went in there and cleaned it up. I was like, all right, buddy, let's go play. I was like, dude, don't put dog food on the floor. I was like, it's going to get germs. It's when you talk to a 2-year-old, it's going to have germs.
Are the terrible twos as terrible as they say?
I freaking love the Terrible Twos, man. My son he's feral. I let him do whatever the heck he wants. It's like dogs, man. When he's playing with the electrical socket or trying to climb on his unstable high chair, I tell him no and he listens. Yesterday, he told my wife, no. And he looked at us from the corner of his eyes. This is the first time I've ever had to. I stood up, I looked him dead in his eyes, and I took him to the living room, and he's already crying. And I held him by his shirt, and I was like, do not ever talk to your mom like that ever again. It's the first time I've ever given him any confrontation, ever. And he went straight to my wife. He's about to be 3. He gave her a hug and said, I'm sorry, Mom. Like, that's development. That's dog training for me. That's just development as a species, man.
How much is patience in the development learning process of a dog important? Some things go by.
Mm-hmm.
How important is that in the evolution of being a dog trainer?
Depends on your goals. If your dog is doing a bunch of random stuff, he's being a bad dog, but you don't have any deposits made, let him get away with those things. My mentor has a beautiful statement. He tells this to his clients, and they think he's crazy. Agree with your dog on everything for at least a month. Agree on them with everything, because the moment we disagree with them, you're taking a withdrawal. Now, if you're teaching a dog something, let them make a mistake. If I'm teaching a dog to lay down for the first time, and then he accidentally goes to his back because he's like, hey, this worked for me at home. I'm like, bro, get up. What are we doing? I'll toss a treat at his forehead or something. I'm like, come on, down, right here, buddy. And it's very, very, very important. But in communication, if the dog knows, start being like, all right, buddy, dude, come on. I need to get my freaking paycheck. Let's go.
Devin, Crossfire Canine. So make sure to go follow this man. Check out his dancing video. And this man, if you guys want to learn more, so obviously go follow him. But Who's a Good Boy Industries, Mentor A. TWC, Mentor B. Full Metal Jacket.
Movie A.
Devin, I knew this would be good, but I appreciate your time. I appreciate you sharing a wealth of knowledge with my community.
Absolutely, brother. I'm happy to be here, man. I'm happy to be part of your community. And then I'm going to make sure if anybody needs some good dog education, that they're going to come check you guys out too.
What's the deal with Virginia Beach having so many good dog trainers?
Something in the water. There's a lot of ego over here too, though. But
every time I try to leave, they keep pulling me back in. That's from?
What's that, brother?
When you said it's something in the water, it's from Happy Gilmore. Bye.